What is up, everybody? Happy hump day, or is it? A lot going on today in these college football streets. Hartline to South Florida, recruits are hanging in the wind. We're going to talk about it, address it, give you some updates, and get to it. Listen, do me a favor, as always, hit that like button. If you have not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell for notifications. I had a good brother of mine down in Arkansas who hit me up and said, B Moses, I'm not getting the shows. I told him to hit that bell so that whenever we go live, it'll just pop up on your feed. You don't have to look for us. We'll be right there on your screen. So make sure you do that. Also, remember when you send those wonderful super chats, which y'all already starting out the gate. Um, there was a super chat wait before I even went live. And I feel y'all. It's a crazy day. Remember, it helps to go towards pay it forward, which is our military and our first responders. We're going to look out for them because they always look out for us. And look, we're going to dive right into it. Nevada, crazy day, a lot going on. I know your phone, like you say, was lighting up like a Christmas tree. What you got for us today, brother?
Oh, crazy day. I mean, crazy day. This is one of those days when you're on the message board and you type an answer and then you hit refresh, and then there's like six new things coming up on the board. I mean, it was that way literally nonstop today
Yeah.
on the message board. So much activity. Um, you know, Full disclosure, the Brian Hart, I put this on the message board. Really good source of mine and a really good poster on a board. I'm not going to give you his name, but I'll give you his handle, Slobs54, um, had texted me yesterday and said, "Hey, I got this information that Brian Hartline's going to USF." And I'm like, South Florida? Really? I mean, South Florida? Like, really? And he's like, yeah, I know. It just kind of came out of nowhere. It's kind of crazy. But I said, how credible is the source? He's like, pretty credible, but not, not like a primary source, not like rock solid. But so what do you think about it? I said, well, I haven't heard anything about that. Um, that's a decent job, but it seems like Brian could do way better than that, right? That doesn't make much sense to me. He goes, yeah, no, that doesn't make much sense to me. So we kind of went back and forth, and just decided that I obviously was not going to go with something like that, something unvetted, especially not on the eve of National Signing Day, to just throw something out. There have been so many rumors about Brian with Penn State, with Kentucky, with Auburn. I mean, there's just like, so I just kind of filed this under another rumor. And so imagine my surprise when they break Brian Hartline's the next head coach of Shuffled. I'm like, damn, Slav,
Yeah.
you had this. That was my immediate text. I was just like, dude, what? He's like, WTF? Like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. But
Yeah.
yeah, crazy day. Um, I have so many thoughts on the matter with Brian Hartline that I'm trying to unpack it all. But I want to start it off by saying I have no problem with Brian Hartline moving on or becoming a head coach or bettering his life in any way. His life, his prerogative. I think it was fanciful thinking, and it would have had to follow a very specific path to have him stay at Ohio State and wait for Ryan Day to move on. Um, there's things that are unknowable. How long is Ryan Day going to stay at Ohio State? Is that 5 years? Is that 15 years? Is that 20? But we don't know that. So that could impact the decision. Where Brian feels like if he's ready to run a program or not ready to run a program, or whatever. My thinking on this has always been, and yeah, I don't want to get too far afield on this, but I think this is an important point, and I want to hear your opinion on this because I really do value your opinion. But my opinion is, think about Ryan Day's trajectory at Ohio State. Ryan Day had never been a coordinator before, had never been a head coach before, came to Ohio State, 2 years as offensive coordinator, then became the head coach at Ohio State. Okay, that was his career path. Quarterback coach in the NFL, offensive coordinator at Ohio State for 2 years, head coach at Ohio State. To me, that seemed like a risky hire. But Urban Meyer really believed in it. They believed in it. They went thing, and darn if they weren't right. You know what I'm saying? That was he's this guy's been an A plus hire by every measure. and they absolutely picked another winner there with Ryan Day. But let's just say Ryan Day had chosen a different path. Say Ryan Day, after those 2 years or whatever during that, had decided to become the head coach at Temple or at Boston College or somewhere else. My question is, would Ryan Day be Ryan Day? Would Ryan Day be the Ryan Day that we see now? And I would submit the answer is no. I would submit that Ohio State, while the brand of Ohio State, the support of Ohio State, everything that's about Ohio State can help you become who you are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, I wonder with Brian Hartline, I really have real questions of, will Brian Hartline go down to South Florida, and will this be a successful move for him, or will this be one where it's going to be difficult for him to be successful outside of the support structure that is Ohio State? And I think that's an open question. So no problem with Brian doing it. Not sure I agree with the decision or whatever, but that's irrelevant. However, the timing is so unfortunate. I mean, there's a reason why. If you go back and look, I don't think there's ever been a coach that's would leave on National Signing Day. It's just not what you do. And I wish that what Brian had done was, if he has sincere interest in the University of South Florida job, which is totally his right, that all that he would have said to them was, you know what? This week is a crazy week. We've got National Signing Day. We've got Big Ten championship game on Saturday. Let me just get through that, and then let's reconnect on Sunday or Monday, and see where we're at, or make the decision, or whatever it is in terms of doing that. uh, to me, that would have been the right path to choose on this. I know some people feel differently, and that's fine. Um, but I think the way that he did it really put Ohio State in a very difficult situation where they're having to think about it this way. If he had done this on National Signing Day when JJ Smith was signing, do you think JJ Smith would have signed with Ohio State?
Yeah. Oh, no, you asking me? No.
Yeah.
Based off what we know about JJ Smith specifically now in
Yes.
hindsight, no, I don't think he would have.
Yeah. So no matter what, no matter how good the feelings were, no matter how we'd have lost the kid. And so I think with all the work that had been put in, and the work was not just done by Ryan Day, the work, or excuse me, by Brian Hartline. The work was done by a lot of people at Ohio State for
Yeah.
years on these recruits. I think you have to let the thing play out. I think you have to sign. Then you go pursue your head coaching opportunity, do whatever you want to do. And here's the thing for the recruits: the recruits can portal out if they're unhappy with the way it went down. They can portal out. Julian Sainz signed with Alabama, and then portaled out and came to Ohio State. You can still portal out if you're unhappy with the way, but at least give Ohio State a fighting chance in this thing. And I think right now he's really put Ohio State behind the eight ball in wide receiver recruiting by a decision that I don't believe had to be made today. And that's my personal feeling. Um, Not the decision that he made, just the timing. I think the timing was very unfortunate, and I think it's unfortunate the way that it went down.
Yeah, definitely a lot to unpack, like you said. The first thing I'll say is, obviously, when you see someone has a certain path, you look at Ryan Day's path from the NFL, and before that with Chip Kelly, and his whole path, and being mentored and discipled by Urban Meyer at Ohio State. Urban seeing what we all see in him now, back then, all of that. I mean, I'm going to say he would not be the same Ryan Day because, you know, uh, I just, your path is your path. So I will agree with you. We can't know for sure, but I don't think he would be the same Ryan Day he is today. What molded and shaped him into what he is. Now, about Brian Hartline. So I have questions. I don't know all the details. And so I hear you. The timing is trash. The timing is absolutely trash. It sucks. But the reason I'm hesitant on going all in on Heartline is because, what are the details? Was it USF that insisted, like, hey, listen, I know you want to coach with Ohio State for the rest of the season. That's not ideal for us. We would rather have you on a recruiting trail now, full time working, to get your class together. But we do want to release this and put it out there to create buzz and let the recruits know you're coming. Did that happen? Or was it Hartline just like, okay, go ahead and release it? Or was it Hartline not kind of pushing back enough to say, wait? And then also the flip side of it is, was Hartline and Day concerned about unintentionally, or even, I guess you can say it intentionally, misleading kids by not telling them he was leaving, having them sign? Yeah, they can portal out, but is that going to put a black eye on the culture in Ohio State of being misleading if they don't tell them up front? Ryan Day in the press conference today confirmed that they told the recruits before, that before anybody else knew. So I just got questions about all of that. And that's why I'm kind of hesitant about kind of going in on Hartline. But regardless of what the situation is, the timing is trash and it sucks. Now, here's the thing. We knew this was going to happen one day. Okay. So I'll kind of wrap up with this on my thoughts with Hartline. We knew this was going to happen one day. So I guess my thing is, I'd rather it be South Florida, someone who's not going to take any recruits from us, than Penn State or LSU or Florida or someone like that. I'd rather it be USF if it's going to be anybody. So, but yeah, I mean, these things, this is college football. It's a new world. It's even more aggressive and crazy. And Hartline, do your thing. I'm sad to see you leave. We will be fine. Nothing is bigger than the Block O. Ryan Day reminded everybody of that at the presser today. Nothing is bigger. Not Ryan Day, not Urban Meyer. Nobody is bigger than the Block O. So for those who are freaking out, and there are people freaking out and basically saying this is going to be the start of our ending and we're going to decline now and Oregon's going to overtake us now, and I've seen all the takes. I disagree. Our track record says otherwise. We've been through a lot in this program that could have destroyed us, and yet we're still here, about to compete for another natty. And so I'll get to the Big Ten title game. I see y'all asking about that. We'll get to that in a minute. But Nevada, I just wanted to respond to all of that. And it's a lot to unpack today, brother. So much, man.
Yeah, no, it's just, your point about recruits. So yeah, while he's not going to take recruits, his action today could lead to other teams taking recruits. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sure.
there's never a good time to do something like this, but there sure as heck is a bad time. And the bad time would be National Signing Day. Like that would, if you had to pick the worst day in the world to do something like this, it would be a National Signing Day. And I think when something like that happens, you just have to question people's motives, because I think it's relatively who had an incentive to do this. I mean, USF did, and whose benefits from that? Well, Brian Hartline does as the next coach at USF. If he's recruiting's better down there, if they salvage their class or do whatever, um, that's where it's at. And I don't know all the details. I've been talking to people all day, and let me tell you what, there are some very unhappy people about this at Ohio State.
I'm
Some
sure.
very unhappy people. And the challenge is that everybody, and I was talking to a helping technician, he's like, everybody's got to put on a happy face about this, because that's what you got to do. Everybody's got to say publicly, oh, we're just happy for him, and hey, he bettered himself, and thumbs up, and way to go, Brian, and the whole thing. But the reality is, the timing on this was so bad and so inelegantly handled, and so just ham-handed, that it's really put Ohio State in a bad spot. And I know people want to talk about Chris Henry Jr. recruitment, um, and I think that I've got a pretty good handle on the Chris Henry Jr. recruitment. I mean, there's a faction of people in Ohio State that believe that they're still in the game for sure, and I think they still are in the game. The game is still afoot with Chris Henry, but man, they have just unleashed the sharks on this kid, and everybody else is, they're all in on him now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
this was a kid that announced for Ohio State, that was ready to sign for Ohio State, that was right there for Ohio State, and now Texas has come. Texas has obviously come. Oregon, super aggressive. Everybody's coming after this kid today, and I think for Ohio State's in a position where they're going to have to up their NIL offer to the kid. He's asking about their plans for the wide receiver coach position. the wide receiver position coach at Ohio State, probably one of the most coveted jobs in all of football. Like, you're going to get everybody and anybody who, has any type of chops in terms of wide receivers, in terms of recruiting, in terms of the South, whatever, is going to want to do this job because it's certainly a nitrous oxide to your career, to being an offensive coordinator, to being a head coach, whatever you want to do. So they're not going to, lack for options on that. It's just the timing. Now you're in the timing where, you know, uh, Chris Henry Jr. wants to know who the wide receiver coach is going to be, and you got to give him an answer on that now today. And it's hard. So I think for Ohio State, they're still in the game. I think Chris Henry's looking for reasons to say yes to Ohio State. I'm just not sure Ohio State can give him the reasons to Ohio State. He wants to hear who's going to be in these positions, and I don't think Ohio State can answer that right now. And I think some people are saying, "Well, just put Devin Jordan in there, just put somebody on." And I'm saying, no, don't do that. Don't just rush a hire to put for the most coveted job in terms of do I doubt that Ryan Day, given time and everything, will make a good hire? If track record's any indication, Ryan Day will make a home run hire on it. I'm just not sure it'll be in time. I'm not sure the timing will line up in terms of which again goes back to the initial thing of this whole thing about the timing.
Yeah.
So, you know, we haven't even unwrapped yet the Brian Hartline still being the offensive coordinator through the playoff thing. I personally would cut him loose. I personally would let him go. And move on. Ryan obviously is the best offensive coordinator in football. He can handle it for 4 games. You've got Chip Kelly out there. There's a lot of options that you would have in terms of the offensive coordinator. I would let him go because I don't think he's going to be focused on the task at hand. I don't know how he possibly could be. Um, given his opportunity to be a first-time head coach down there at South Florida, and the way that this thing went down today. So I'd be interested to hear other people's opinion on it, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that he may be distracted, and I'm not sure a distracted Brian Hartline is the best answer for offensive coordinator at Ohio State through the Big Ten championship game in the playoff. But I'm certainly open to other opinions on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So with Chris Henry Jr., and listen, seeing social media, Twitter, Facebook, IG, whatever outlet, there's some people who are attacking the kid and going after him. I mean, look, man, we have to kind of back up and just think this kid is getting approached with all types of crazy offers. Oregon, Texas, Ohio State. I mean, like crazy bags and crazy everything else you can think of as a 17-year-old kid. And so Hartline leaves, which really opens him up to the Sharks, like you said. So can you imagine how the head is spinning? You are dealing with some of the best recruiters, best business and salesmen on the planet. That's what college football, these coaches, they are some of the best salesmen on the planet in your ear. So you're dealing with that pressure. Now, the flip side of it is Oregon, they lost their OC. So I'm just like, well, they got to come up with a new hire. Do they have a guy that they're telling him about? Now, Texas is a different story, but Oregon is always going to be a challenge. They're the shiny toy. They're the shiny object that looks pretty and is very alluring, but lacks substance. Zero natties. Getting smashed in the Rose Bowl by Ohio State. Oregon is a good program, but there are a lot of flash and they, it's eye candy. And I can understand with these kids, kind of, being really lured in by Oregon. So listen, it's unfortunate. This is not ideal. It sucks. But this is just what it is, y'all. And so, as far as Brian Hartline coaching, I'm going to have a little more optimism. I think Ryan Day, I guess a little bit of it is trust in Ryan Day. He's so maniacal and focused on getting this second natty and the culture and everything else. If he felt like Hartline was not focused, I don't know if he would go with this. And then two, knowing Ryan Day, I think he's going to be all on top of it, all over it. Because it's one thing if you have a coordinator who's a defensive guy, you're not a defensive guy. But Ryan Day is an offensive coordinator himself. So to me, that kind of helps my concern about Hartline's focus because you got Ryan Day, like you said, who's done this before. And I do believe, maybe I'm naive, maybe I'm stupid, but I do believe Hartline still loves his players and loves Ohio State. But obviously, he has his self-interest in mind with this new job. So there's going to be some selfishness there and a tightrope to walk. We don't know all the details of when, how, what, and whatever, but I have a little more confidence in Hartline being able to coach alongside Ryan Day, being there to govern throughout these playoffs. But guess what? We about to find out. We got the Big Ten title game against the number 2 team in the country in a few days, and then after that, the playoffs get announced. So we're in it. So we're gonna find out. But crazy day. Did not wake up anticipating all of this, Nevada. But this is college football, especially in this new world, brother. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. It's just you'd like to think that things would be handled in a way that you know wouldn't hurt the program,
Yeah.
and I just think I just can't get past that. I just can't get past the fact that this day should have been uneventful. This was just an unforced error, in my opinion. This day could have been a very uneventful day, and then Brian moves on, and we're all sad, but we wish him well, and we just kind of move on down the road. And so, um, I think Ohio State is in a tough spot right now. They're doing this the hardest way, and you don't want to look losing Legend Bay or any of the other people. Like
Yeah.
I love Legend Bay. I love Legend Bay. I loved his tape. I loved everything about Legend Bay. Um, but though that makes me sad. But losing a Chris Henry Jr. would hurt. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that would
It,
suck.
it, it was like I
Period.
mean, is it devastating? Is it the end of days? No, no one recruit is the end of days for Ohio State. Not with the portal, not with recruiting, not with. I mean, there's just no way that's true. Having said that, it would suck.
Yep.
It would suck, and this is an Ohio kid that you've had for 3 years, and you lose them on signing day. It's just it's just hard to process that. And I know, I mean, look, Ohio State's in there fighting, but the tough thing's going to be that they can't answer the question about who's going to be his wide receiver coach. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Oregon lost their offensive coordinator, but I think they got a wide receiver coach. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can't
Yeah.
even answer who's going to be the wide receiver coach. So it's there's just a fundamental problem there, for a kid who wants to make a decision, and again, all the information I have, and I've got really good information on Chris Henry Jr. I really believe in his heart he wants to say yes to the Buckeyes. I really do. I just don't know if he can. I'm not sure if he's in a position to really gamble everything on a program where he doesn't even know who's going to be coaching him. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
unless Ryan can pull a rabbit out of his hat and pull a guy here in the next 24 or 48 hours, maybe you think. And again, that's where this whole had we had a chance to delay this decision for Brian just a few days, it would have given Ryan a chance to line up put the ducks in a row, get it ready, and be in a position where you could answer those questions for recruits. And that's all you want. You're not trying to, all the people saying, "Oh, you want to trick people, Nevada, and you're ruining their lives." And it's like, no, it's just you secure an order that you've been working on for 3 years, that everybody's been working on for 3 years, and now you give yourself a chance to reinforce to that person why they made that buying decision. And it doesn't have to be forced, and it doesn't have to be hazard and haphazard and scattered. And that's what we're doing now. We're doing damage control right now because of the circumstances that we're in. Whereas if we'd had till next Monday, a lot of those questions could have been answered. We could have had a lot more ducks in a row. And if we lose a big recruit like Chris Henry Jr. again, will it be the end of the program? Of course not. That's just silly. I always say it's not the guys that you miss on that kill you. It's the guys that you
Yep.
get that can't play that kill you.
Yep.
but Chris Henry Jr. is a guy that should be a Buckeye. He's a kid, and again, I won't cry about anybody else, but that would be one that I would be a little sad about because that kid should be a
Yeah,
Buckeye. That, there's
man,
just
perfect.
there's a perfect kid to be Ohio State, and
No,
uh,
I'm sorry. I was gonna say perfectly said. Go ahead. My bad.
well, no, I just think he should just be a Buckeye. He should be on the other
Yeah,
side with JJ Smith being thrown to by Julian Sand. And I know that's being pitched to him. Even you're seeing JJ out there making the pitch on Twitter, which frankly is
yep,
usually a not a good sign. Usually when JJ's getting involved, those kids are slipping away to the other side.
yeah.
What I'm saying? So it's great that it's being done, and I really appreciate the efforts and I appreciate the optimism on the side of Ohio State. But I just wonder if they have enough time, if they have enough thing. I think Heartline has put them in a really, really difficult spot with what happened today. And so my report on it is, like I said, I talked to people at Ohio State that are absolutely, and they're on the front lines, and they say that no decision made. We are still in the game, and they're optimistic we can bring this home. But there's just part of me that just feels like we're up against it. That there's just too many forces that are conspiring against us. Unless Ryan can answer the question of who's going to be my position coach here really shortly, I think it's going to be tough. Not impossible, but tough.
Yeah, and I'll respond. We can get to super chats pretty soon because they're stacking up. But I'll say this: you perfectly stated. It's like people just feel like it's got to be one extreme or the other. You said it perfectly. I would hate to lose Chris Henry Jr. He's a dog, like an absolute dog. I've been having visions of him lined up on the opposite side of the field with Jeremiah Smith. I mean, if he comes here, he's going to be playing starter minutes or heavy in the rotation. It's just going to be crazy. But with that said, this notion by some that are saying, "Oh, if we lose him, then it's just a wrap," and it's just like, chill. Like two things can be true: losing Chris Henry Jr. would be sad and it would really suck, but it's not going to destroy our program. Can we get a grip, please, with that? I'm being gracious because I agree with you that losing him would be like, dang. But come on, stop with this extra, ominous craziness with everything this program has been through and has trucked on through. So that's one thing. And yes, I do have Jeremiah Smith retweeting. And listen, we tell stuff as if some people don't know because everybody doesn't follow Twitter and social media like we do. Everybody doesn't stay up on everything that comes through the pipeline like we do. So Chris Henry Jr. posted a tweet earlier. He says, "I have not signed yet. Still trying to weigh my options due to coaching changes. I just want to make the right decision for my future. God's plan." That was his tweet. Jeremiah Smith retweeted, quoted, "We need you," with 4 exclamation points and a 100 emoji. All right. So that's Jeremiah Smith. Like Nevada said, not the greatest sign, but I'll take it because put it like this, we're up against it regardless. I'd rather have Jeremiah Smith pitching in to help recruit this kid than not, but to your point, it's not a good sign, but I'll take it if that makes sense, Nevada. But yeah, we can get the super chats unless you got something to say about that.
No, no, just I mean, look, if you're an Ohio State fan, here's the good news. Ohio State does not lack for money. If there ever was a time when Ohio State had the money coffers are full at Ohio State, they're aware of the importance of the recruits. Feel like they're still in the game for everybody that's still on the board, and they're working hard to pull them in. And we just got, I mean, this is when Ryan Day, who is the elder statesman of college football right now, has got to do work and pull this one off. And I have faith that all hands are on deck and that everything's going to be done that can be done. And that's, to be honest with you, that's all you ever really want in a situation like this. So you just want to know that you're doing everything you can, because if it can't be salvaged, then at least we know we shot our shot on this. I
Yeah,
do believe these can be. I think tomorrow a lot can change in 24 hours, and with a little reflection, and I think people get back to the reasons why they made the decision about Ohio State in the first place. And for people freaking out about Heartline, and I say this, we have always recruited great wide receivers to Ohio State. We
yeah,
recruit great wide receivers with the guy before him and with the guy before him and with the guy, but what I'm saying? We've always, now Brian has taken it to almost another level. I mean, he has been unbelievable in terms of doing it. So I'm not denigrating Ryan or Brian Hartline in any way, shape, or form. I'm merely pointing out that we've always been very good at and so do I think that if Ryan Day goes out there and makes another Matt Patricia level hire as the wide receiver coach, that our wide receiver recruiting will slide into oblivion and will never recruit again? No, I don't believe it for a second. So I think it's just incumbent upon Ryan to find that guy and find him quickly and get him into that spot and get things back on track. And if we have a little blip here, then we have a little blip here. But I mean, it'd be the same thing if we got Chris Henry Jr. and then say he got a knee injury and got hurt. Would that be the end of this? Would that be over for Ohio State?
Great example. Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you know, yeah, no, you just
Perspective.
perspective. You just got to keep on trucking. And look, it's all hands on deck at Ohio State. They know it, and I really do have a feeling that we're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be a better day on this front. I really do.
Amen. And real quick, looking at this tweet here, it says right now Ryan Day is trying to keep Chris Henry Jr. in the fold, wrap up his recruiting class. 2, fielding calls from the entire nation about the OC wide receiver opening. 3, preparing for a Big Ten championship against the number 2 team in the country. And then it says the college football calendar needs fixed ASAP. That's from Buckeye HQ on Twitter. So yeah, it's like Ryan Day. You talking about the job of a college football coach and the elder statesman. I mean, Ryan Day earns his money every day, and he's certainly earning it now. It's just crazy, and nobody's crying for him. You know, he's paid well, but boy, oh boy, is it a challenge to do what he's doing right now. But I trust him. I trust he's going to make the right hire, and I trust that he's going to navigate through. If anybody can navigate us through this mess, remember what Urban and Tressel didn't have to deal with is transfer portal, NIL, COVID, cheating scandals from the team up north. Ryan Day, he hasn't been perfect, but he's navigated us through all of that mess. I'm sure he can navigate us through losing Brian Hartline and battling for Chris Henry Jr. It's just more perspective. That doesn't mean you can't be sad and salty and pissed off. We get it. We just explained to you how inconvenient and salty and like ridiculous this is today. But guess what? Bigger picture. You have to step back out of your emotions and your tunnel vision in the moment because you'll drive yourself crazy. And so that's what we're trying to lead you down the path of. But we can start jumping into these super chats because y'all going hard. And I love it. Scum Cheats. I love that handle. Thanks for the $9.99. Sucks to lose Hartline. He was a great recruiter, but let's not act like he was Paul Brown or some offensive X's and O's guru. Day was forced to promote him after Chip left. This is Day's offense. OH Nevada?
I
concur. I agree. Respect to Brian Hartline. He was great at what he did, recruiting, developing wide receivers, but nothing's bigger than the Block O, Nevada.
Well, yeah, and you hate to go down these hypothetical things, but like if we add if we add Chip Kelly back as the offensive coordinator, and then go get a hot shot wide receiver coach guy, right? Are we not better off? I mean, being honest, like Chip Kelly returning to be the offensive coordinator would be otherworldly good. And then, you need to find somebody who can go out and recruit. And, the bottom line was Zach Smith was 2-time recruiter of the year for the thing. And then Brian comes in and he's otherworldly, like we can, there's guys with various backgrounds there that were both wildly successful as the OSU wide receiver coach. We don't think you can find another one. Again, that is not diminishing Brian Hartline. I just don't think he's a one of one. I don't think Brian Hartline is the only guy who can recruit wide receivers to Ohio State. And I say that with all respect to Brian Hartline and what he's done. But I really think there are probably other people that can sell it with enthusiasm, with experience, that are having success at other places, and that can do a good job. And then if you enhance the offensive coordinator position on top of that, maybe we're better off. Last year when Knowles left, I would have said, something, we're not going to be better off at defense. We're just not. And then they went out and got Matt freaking Patricia.
Yep.
And we're better. And he's better. And that was an upgrade. And that would have seemed unthinkable a year ago, but it happened.
Preach.
So That's where I'm at.
Great word, Deacon, Reverend, Doctor. Like, if anybody is like doubting that Matt Patricia hire by Ryan Day, to me, you can't dismiss it. You can't downplay it because he was not on anybody's bingo card. And he pulled him in despite the backlash, despite the Detroit Lions, and look at us now. Upgrade. And so, and you're right. Listen, Zach was a really good recruiter. People forget he brought some nice guys in. Hartline took it to another level. Again, not diminishing Hartline, but let's not act like this is not the Ohio State University. That's all we saying. That's all we saying. And real quick about Chip, Nevada, I saw several people on social media when Chip Kelly was brought up, like, no, he's the reason we lost to Michigan. No, he's not the reason why we lost to Michigan. People were saying that. Listen, he was not perfect in that game. Matter of fact, that was probably his worst game. But guess what? Chip Kelly was at fault. Ryan Day was at fault. The O-line was at fault. There was a lot of I'm the rewatch that game king. There was a lot of accountability slices to that pie to go around for that game. It was not just on Chip Kelly. So please stop. Do you see what he did in the playoffs? I thought he was pretty good in the playoffs. Did you, Nevada?
Well, the fact that we beat 4 top 5 teams by double digits, yeah, I'd say he was pretty good.
What are we talking about?
Exactly.
Like, okay, he got fired from the Raiders. So does every other coach. Saban got fired from the NFL. So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, just stop it. I would gladly take Chip Kelly. I'm open to other names for OC, but bringing Chip Kelly back, I'm like, okay, cool, bet. You know the program, you know the personnel. You just did this last year. Why would you be opposed to that? People, I don't
Well,
get it.
I just wish we'd been successful with Chip. I just wish that we. Oh, well, that's right. We won a natty. Oh, okay. Yeah,
I,
maybe he was kind of successful.
I don't get it, Nevada. I just listen. Opinions are opinions, but just I don't understand the logic of some people. But people are emotional today. I get it. All right, Ryan Coolidge. Thanks for the 1999. Rough day. Do you guys feel okay about prep work for IU this weekend? Seems like a massive distraction at this point in the season, and I'm just hoping we can stay focused on the prize. Let's bring back Chip. I'll let you go first, Nevada. What you got on this?
I don't have a practice report from today. Helping technician had one, and he said it wasn't a real practice. He said it was a shit show. That's literally what he said. So, I, look, is that the final word on things? No, I've seen plenty of times when there have been run-ups that have been exactly perfect, and then the team comes out and fires on all cylinders on Saturdays. And I've seen weeks where you've had perfect preparation and had laid an egg on Saturday. So, I don't think it's the end all be all. Um, do I think it's a distraction? I don't know how it can't be.
Yeah.
I don't know how it can't be, but um, you got a lot of prideful guys in the room. You got a lot of players with a lot of experience. And here's the bottom line. The one thing I can tell you from very careful film review and from talking to people that have really, really studied this, we are way better than Indiana.
Yes, we
We
are.
are we are way better. Like, and I'm telling you, B, it's not close. We're way better than Indiana. So if we lose to them, it's not a talent issue. And we just have to, be emotionally ready, be mentally ready in terms of going into that game. But if it's even close, the game doesn't need to be close because we've got a significant talent advantage across the board.
Yeah, I agree. And this is what I've been saying without diving into a deep analysis yet. That's been pretty much my summary. And again, people out there listening, hear me clearly. We respect Indiana. They're a very good team, very well coached team. Mendoza's a really good quarterback, and this team respects them. But they know these Buckeyes in that locker room, we know, talking to them, dealing with them, they know they're better than Indiana. They know that. And they're motivated. But is this a distraction? Absolutely it is. There's no way to spin it. This is a distraction that's been presented. Now, I'll say this. If any coaching staff and any team and any 4 captains can handle this distraction, it's this team. So that gives me confidence that Ryan Day and this team and the leaders on this team can navigate through this. But they got to navigate through it because it is what it is. Unfortunate day, but you got to deal with it. It's adversity, right? You got all the motivational quotes, all the stuff on the Woody wall, and all, what are you gonna do? And so I believe this staff and these players will step up to the challenge for Saturday. So there's my response. All right, next super chat, Robbie at the 2. Thanks for the 5. Should we hire another former OSU wide receiver turned wide receiver coach, Chris Carter, and get Chip Kelly as the coordinator? Nevada?
Look, I love Chris Carter. I don't know where Chris is at in his life in terms of whether or not he wants to do all the dirty work of being a recruiter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I just don't know. I don't know that he does. I don't know that he doesn't. Um, from a technical standpoint, Chris would be unbelievable from an experience. I mean, you're talking about an NFL Hall of Famer. So yeah, that he would be good in any room, in any situation, and just a brilliant, brilliant guy. I more thinking that the profile's got to be someone who's got Florida connections, dynamic recruiter, and whether or not they have direct OSU ties, you know, could a Kenny Guyton come in there? You know what I'm saying? There's lots of different options they have, but I think you go out and get the best. You go for a Matt Patricia level hire. You go for the Grand Slam, and I don't think this is a recruit from within, given up to Keegan Bradley or what what I'm saying? Like this is one of those things where I just think you're really trying to go out there and try to get the best of the best in terms of doing it. And I know that Ohio State's been absolutely flooded with resumes on this. I mean, this is something. This is a very, very, very desirable job. This isn't like the Penn State head coaching job where they've struck out on every single one of their candidates right now. This is
Yeah.
a very, very desirable job. So I hope Ohio State can get to it quickly and get their guy as soon as possible. Um, as for Chip as OC, I would cry. I would literally cry tears of joy if Chip Kelly came back as the OC because there's nobody that's more in simpatico with Ryan Day. I mean, those guys are literally best friends. And so you've got two of the best minds in all of the history of college football together. Um, it would just make so much sense from that standpoint. And again, it was unusual having an offensive coordinator who was also the wide receiver coach. So with unlimited coaches, separate the positions. The offensive coordinator doesn't need to be a heavy recruiting guy. The wide receiver coach does. Find a great recruiter, put them on the road, and let's get it done.
Yep. I agree. I agree, man. All right. What we got next here? Oh, do me a favor. All of those who just came in or coming in, hit that like button. If you have not hit the like button, please hit the like button. Keep it going. Helps to, generate traffic so people can see this video, and hit that subscribe button if you have not subscribed. All right. Clueless. Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Thanks for the 10. South Florida, perfect first job for Hartline. Sad to see him go, but he lands at a place in a recruiting hotbed and at a place with realistic expectations. Sad to see him go, but OSU keeps moving on. OH Nevada? Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is good. Putting everything, the bad timing and everything to the side. This is a good starting job for him. It doesn't affect Ohio State as far as recruiting against us and whatever. And I think it's a good starter job for him with the expectations and everything. So I agree on that. Obviously, today is unfortunate, the timing, but that aside, I think that's a fair take. What you got, Nevada?
Yeah, I got mixed feelings. I got mixed feelings about the South Florida job. I I I think Brian could have done better. I actually think Brian was in demand enough that he could have gone to a better job. And I think the problem I shouldn't say problem, the challenge in college sports today is that when you're at one of these lesser programs like USF, that you're basically like a feeder program to
Yeah.
the big boys. And I'm just not sure how easy it is to win there anymore and how sustainable it is. And the problem for Ryan or for Brian rather is if he goes 6-6 or 7-5 or whatever, I mean, anything short of him going to 11-1 or 12-0 and being like the hot coach of the year, which maybe he does that. Maybe he pulls an Urban Meyer at Utah and goes 12-0, and everybody's talking about Brian Hartline. But if he doesn't, it's the end of his college. It's the end of his head coaching career. Like he'll never be a head coach again, ever. And so you're throwing all your chips in on I can win at USF, and maybe he can. Don't know. So we're all gonna follow it eagerly. I agree. I'm glad that he's not going to a place where he's directly in competition with us
Right.
and that. But I think we'll see how he does down there. And their schedule's not the most challenging, but they are the fifth program in Florida, and we'll see how he does with that, and we'll see how it goes.
Yep, he's definitely betting on himself. So we'll see. Karis, what's up? Thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member, and thanks for the 4.99. Do we lose any of our current wide receiver room? It's early. I I don't have an answer for that, Nevada. I mean, this is fresh. Um, my optimism says no because I think the current room, like Jeremiah Smith, for example, who's tweeting to keep Chris Henry Jr. It's they know they're here. They know the value of the Black O, of the program, everything that comes along with the city and the program itself and the coaching staff, and it's not just one man. So I mean, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be another, receiver who's not getting starter minutes that feels like they can go somewhere else. But I don't know if that would be because of Heartline, just because of natural portaling, Nevada.
Yeah, like there's a few items here. One, any wide receiver in college football wants to play with Julian Sand. Period. End. You
Yep.
know what I'm saying? Like the most accurate quarterback in the history of college sports throws the easiest catchable ball. You want to play with Julian Sand. You want to play in a wide receiver friendly offense. So we're not going to lose anybody who's important to us or somebody who matters on the thing. Now, could they pull a Jamison Williams where you go from Ohio State where you're not doing anything and then you go there and you blow out? Yeah, that could definitely happen. But I don't think we're going to lose anybody that we want to lose. One and
Right.
two. I don't think Brian's going to go full ham on Ohio State and start trying to pull players and pull this because Brian's still holding out hopes that he's got a path back to Ohio State.
Right.
And I think today did serious damage, to that dream. But if he continued an assault on Ohio State by taking players that they wanted and or staff members, obviously, the bridges would be permanently burned. So I think Brian's going to be very careful about trying to about taking guys and any impact on that. So long answer, but I don't think we'll lose anybody that matters. Let's put it that way.
I agree. All right, Ro, thanks for the 4.99. When these players are getting flipped, what percentage do you think they're getting outbid by? Are players leaving just for a 10% increase? I mean, that's kind of hard to put a number on that. I mean, just off the landscape, what we've experienced, I'm just going to throw out, I don't know, 65%. Because these kids and their parents and these agents, we're seeing more and more where it's just like, hey, up the money. Now, we've been able to successfully locate kids that fit our culture. We're still compensating them, but they're not those highest bidder kids. But it seems like that is shrinking, it's getting less and less. So I don't have I mean, 65% is that's just a number I'm throwing out there, Nevada. What you got?
I'd say it's 100%. I'd say it's big. These kids aren't flipping for 10%. These kids are flipping because the other money is so out of range good that these programs are offering them that they can't say no to it. And that's kind of where we're at. And that's not, I mean, I know some of the numbers that are being bannered about. So it's significant, whether it's 65, 85, 100, whatever it is, it's significant. It's not, I think the spirit of the question is, are these for small things or big things? It's big. The other schools are they're more desperate than Ohio State is. And you just look at it from a standpoint, they
Yeah,
need these players more than Ohio State does. And so as a result, they'd be way more aggressive on NIL than Ohio State is. And that's just the world we live in.
Clueless, thanks for the two, and thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Keenan Bailey next OC. I'm going to say no. I know Ryan Day likes. I mean, he loves Keenan Bailey. That's his guy. But I'm going to say no. Nevada, what you got?
I'm going to say I hope no. I really, I really hope no. I mean,
And nothing
um,
personal against him. It's just
no, no, just I just think that, I look at this kind of like we've talked about the defensive coordinator. Like you could have gone last year and hired Matt Greerney and upped him, you know what I'm saying? Or James Laurinaitis or Tim Walton, or you could have gotten anybody internally, and they went out and got Matt Patricia. And I think we all now look at it and kind of go, wow, that was the right call. That was a good decision. I
yeah,
think the next offensive coordinator needs to be a similar senior level hire.
agreed. Agreed.
So that's that. And Bailey doesn't fit that bill, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why I quickly said no. That's why. Nothing against Keenan Bailey. I think he's a great staff member, but we need that Patricia level higher. I agree. All right. Will the Thrill, what's up, man? Thanks for the 999. How big of a distraction do you think it is for Saturday? Is it possible that Day told Hartline that he plans to be at OSU for a considerably long time? Maybe Brian didn't want to wait that long. We kind of addressed it already, Will. There's a distraction presented. There's a distraction on the table. How are you going to deal with it? So is it going to be a distraction on Saturday? That's yet to be determined. But I think what your question is plausible. I don't think the good news is Day, if this is true, which I think it's plausible, Day's not looking to go anywhere anytime soon. Um, and so if that's the case, like you got to go cut your own path and bet on yourself and hope you can hack it and one day come back and sit down on the Iron Throne, the Iron Buckeye Throne. So Nevada, you think his question is plausible or his thought?
Yeah, well, it's fun. That thought has definitely crossed my mind, more than a few times. Which is, I mean, this just goes to the whole thing of why would Brian leave, and and that's why I never begrudge Brian leaving. Not one, but there's not 1% of me that begrudges Brian leaving, because this could very well be part. Ryan might be here for the long haul, and if he is, Brian might go. I don't want to wait that long to become a head coach. Totally understand. That's why, like I said, the source of any of my frustration is strictly with the timing, not with the decision. But so I think this is very, I mean, could Ryan stay here for a while? Yeah. Could he have communicated that to Brian? There's absolutely no doubt that could be part of the calculus as to why he left. My problem is just when he left, not why he left.
Yeah, got you. All right. Ernie Gonzalez, thanks for the 199. Any coaches going with him? I don't think any coaches of significance are going with him, meaning, the countable 10 or whatever you call it, maybe some GAs, maybe some, lower level coaches. With today's world, you got 50, 11 coaches now because of the rules. Maybe some of those guys, but not any like the top coaches in Nevada. What you got?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't think. I know there's been some names that have been bannered about, like James Laurinaitis. James Laurinaitis is not going. I can tell you that he isn't going. But would Bailey go with, if he was offered the OC job by him to go there? Maybe he would. I don't know. I mean, the challenge for Brian is he doesn't really have much of a coaching tree, but he's never coached anywhere other than Ohio State. So the
Right.
only people he knows are Ohio State guys. So. Um, but I think he's going to be reticent to try to raid Ohio State and take people from Ryan Day. Again, going back to that whole thing of, does he really want to burn the bridge completely down and then, you know, go wee wee on the ashes afterward? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is it's already a difficult enough situation that would make it considerably more difficult. But I'm checking on that to find out who might go. But Laurinaitis will not be one of those names.
Yep. I agree with that for sure. All right. Paul Moss, thanks for the 5. I'm concerned about the possible loss of Bailey Guerreri, Washington, and our O line coach. I mean, when things happen like this, your mind gets going, and it's like I hear you. I'm not right now, but to be fair, you never know, Nevada.
Well, yeah, one, you never know. Two, look, we've always talked about we're the new Alabama and Ryan Day is the new Saban. And let me tell you what,
Yep.
Nick Saban had to deal with wholesale staff changes almost every freaking year. Like, his staff was not together for a long time. And every year I'd look at that and I'd see that staff turnover and I'd be like, ha ha, we got him this year. This is the year where their recruiting falls apart because they lack comfort in relationships, or they lack cohesiveness, or they don't know the players. These are all new. It's a whole new staff. They can't do it, and then they go out and win another natty, and you're like, oh my god, he just won another natty. How's this
Yeah.
happen? So I just look at this as, hey, this is just one of the challenges of being the big dog in college football in 2025. Whether it be a Brian Hartline move or whatever moves, it's going to be you're going to have staff upheaval. Ryan Day's going to have to be up to the challenge, and he's going to have to make home run hires when he does, and he's been doing it. So I believe in his ability to attract. And the good news is Ohio State's one of the most, if not the most desirable locations for a college football coach, in the country. We won't lack for applicants, and I don't doubt that we have the money or the enthusiasm for Ryan Day to go out and hire him.
Yep. And listen, y'all, this is what comes with being the new Saban's Alabama. This type of stuff. This is the problems, the first world problems that we have, y'all. So again, the alternative could be irrelevancy. So is it ideal? No, but it is what it is, y'all, and we will get through it. All right. OSU, man, thanks for the 199. So if you had to guess Henry Flipper stay, right now, as of today, at 8:08 p.m. Eastern time in Columbus, Ohio, chilly, Columbus, Ohio, I'm gonna go with Flip. My guess, you asked me if I had to guess, I'm gonna guess that he flips. Now, like Nevada said, a lot happens overnight. A lot can happen in 24 hours. Tomorrow, when I wake up, we'll see what's buzzing, what's going. Let's see what Nevada's hearing. Helping like all that. Like a lot is going on right now behind the scenes. All right. So tomorrow I might have a different perspective, but right now my guess is Flip. What you got, Nevada?
I'm going to go stay. I think Chris Henry Jr. is looking for reasons to say yes to Ohio State, and I'm going to bet on Ryan Day to pull a rabbit out of his hat on this one.
Amen.
Difficult spot. He's been put in a difficult spot, but I'm not going to bet against Ryan Day.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And if he does, man, that's just even more like, how can you not love this cat? He's dealing with a lot right now. I mean, preparing for the number 2 team in the country in the Big Ten title game that you have not been to in years, that alone is a tough task. So yeah, man, I feel you, and I hope, man. Again, this is guess. I'm guessing today. I'm not declaring, and yet I'm just guessing right now because it's fresh. But hopefully tomorrow we'll have some different vibes and some information to update you with. All right, Gio did. Thanks for the 5. If Chris Henry Jr. wants to know today who Brian Hartline's replacement is today, when it just happened, it's just impossible. Quincy Porter is still here. Yes, Quincy Porter's a dog. Like, I see him. He's a dog. He's gonna be really, really good here. So great point about Quincy Porter. And yeah, that's tough. That's tough. It's like it's I understand the sentiment, but it's not really reasonable. But it's still, I understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like, what are you gonna do? Now, here's where you trust the program you've been committed to for 2 years. The staff, the head coach. It's not just one man. Do you have trust in the program or just one guy? Now, that your answer is your answer. Recruit Chris Henry, whoever. But I've heard some recruits say, I'm sticking with my commitment because of Ohio State, not just because of one coach. But does Chris Henry feel that way? I don't know, Nevada.
Yeah, no, it's I think he does. I think deep down he does, but I think that, it's kind of like, look, you've got a son who's probably going to be an elite athlete, and if he's going out there and all of a sudden he loses his position coach, and you're B Moses is going, who's his position coach going to be? And they're like, We don't know." You know what I'm saying? It's just like, oh damn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right now our answer is we don't know. And but I really do believe, and I've got this on good authority. I really do believe Chris Henry Jr. is looking for reasons to stay with Ohio State. He's looking for reasons to say yes to Ohio State and reaffirm the decision he made 3 years ago. I think Ohio State's got to give it to him, and I think that's an answer he's looking for. And I think Ryan Day, if we're going to pull this one off, he's gonna have to be able to answer that sooner than later.
In that hypothetical scenario with my son, the answer would be, look at me. Look at me. I'm the position coach now. I would be coaching him in that scenario, if that was the case. But no, good point. And listen, we'll wake up tomorrow and see what's up, man. I'm hoping Chris Henry Jr. can stay because it would just be dope. He needs to be a Buckeye. He wants to be a Buckeye, and that's how it should end. All right, Philip Pouliot. Did I say that right? My bad if I butchered your name. Thanks for the 5. I don't know if anyone realizes, but we're about to be back-to-back champs. You really think that the world is ending because one kid might not come? Preach. Preach, Philip. Again, not taking away from the saltiness of the day, but please back off the ledge, some of y'all. Perspective, big picture. He's right. We're going to be fine. We're going to be Gucci regardless, is what we're trying to tell y'all. All right? That's it, Nevada.
Well, and I know these are not related topics and these are two independent events, but would you rather get Chris Henry Jr. and have lost to Michigan or beat Michigan and be where we are and not get Chris Henry? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I mean, come on, let's take inventory of the good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Yes.
let's take inventory of the good. Like, no matter what happened. I mean, you just never know with recruiting in 2025. Like, just say, and I'm not saying they would do this, you know what I'm saying? But say you go out there and you go get Nick Marsh out of the portal from
I
Michigan
just
State.
brought him up to the yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, would he be a nice compliment to JJ Smith next year on the other side? You know, like you've got so many different options and so many
Yeah.
different things that you're doing it. And you've got Julian saying you're dangling out there, hey, you get to go out and have Julian saying throw you the football. And let me tell you what, if you're a wide receiver and you're like, hey, I have a choice to have the ball thrown to me by Julian Sane or by JJ McCarthy. Who do you want to have throwing you the ball? You ask Justin Jefferson how happy he is that 9 is now his quarterback there at Minnesota. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have a quarterback to get you the ball, I don't care how good you are a wide receiver, you ain't going to catch the ball. So, it's a big advantage for these guys. We've got guys on the roster. We've got other guys that we can have committed. We have guys that are already committed. We've got other guys that could possibly commit, and then we got transfer portal. I mean, so that you've
Yeah.
got a lot of options in terms of things, in terms of doing it. So it's not the end of the world. It would suck, though. I am not going to sit here and tell you of all the recruits in the class, Chris Henry Jr. is the one I wanted the most. And so if we don't get him, I'm not going to sit there and go, it doesn't matter. Oh, fiddly dee. It matters. It sucks and not happy about it, but life will move on.
I would definitely fiddly D with you, Nevada. But yes, I agree. We'll be fine regardless, but it would suck. That's the sentiment. All right, here we go. Clueless. Thanks for the 5. If I'm Day, I tell Henry Jr. to hold out till February signing period. Once we hire a coach, get to know him, and if you like him, come and sign here. Sounds good, but a lot of money talking, a lot of pressure. I hear you, but boy, oh boy, Nevada, what you got on that?
Yeah, no, it's look, the schedule doesn't work well for Ohio State. I mean, the whole thing with the transfer portal being right in the middle of the college football playoff, you've got, signing day. I mean, just you've got all sorts of things that are going on that work against teams that are going deep into the playoffs and the stuff that they've got to kind of manage simultaneously. It's difficult, but I agree with you. The longer it goes on with Chris Henry Jr., the better it is for Ohio State because it gives us a chance to put our ducks in order, which again, I don't want to belabor the point, but this is why you get the order today. Brian Hartline then next week says, I'm going, and you have time to reinforce the decision with Chris Henry Jr. And you're not tricking him, you're not lying to him, you're not doing, because he can leave. He can leave. It's not like the old days where they signed and they were indentured servants at Ohio State forever and ever. They can leave. If he wasn't happy, he can go out the door and go somewhere else. But at least then you have time to do it. That's all that I've been on was team time because it's kind of like, look, when Mike Weber got done dirty by Stan
Oh
Drayton
yeah,
when he signed and then
yeah.
we left to go to the Bears. Now does Mike Weber regret making that decision? No, he didn't regret making. He was glad to be a Buckeye, happy about his choice for Ohio State. Wouldn't have made a difference. You know what I'm saying? But it's like that stuff happens all the time. Everything now is shifted to the benefit of the players. NIL, immediate free agency, all this stuff like that. This is the one hold that you kind of have on them where for a few weeks we could have worked on him as a Buckeye. I would have liked to have that few weeks. I think our last 3 years of leading the pack, we earned that. We should have had it, but we don't. So such is life. So we got to get on it tomorrow.
Yeah, we do, man. A lot of work to do. If Chris Henry Jr. Sorry, Gio did. Thanks for the 5. If Chris Henry Jr. goes elsewhere, if for one will go off the deep end, one talented 17-year-old young man will make or break our program. Remember that, fam. Yeah. So just reiterating, they're not going to make or break. I agree. I have nothing else to say about that. We've been hammering that, but I'm glad you're hammering in that, Gio did, because there's still a lot of people who are just going nuts, crashing out. And I get, like, again, we're acknowledging that it would suck, but we're not going to go there with you. That the program is over and that Oregon's going to just supplant us and all this other stuff. Nah, no, Nevada.
Well, no, I mean, you know what's you know what it would mean, what it would really mean. There's an old saying that when God closes one door, He opens another. That's all it
Yeah,
would mean. It would mean that there's another door that's now been opened for somebody else to kind of come in, whether that be a portal guy or whether that be another recruit or whether that be somebody that's already on the roster in terms of stepping up. And nobody can, and no matter as good as Chris Henry Jr. is in high school, you cannot tell me how good he's going to be in college because you don't know how about his work ethic.
yep,
You don't know about his
exactly.
health. He could have an injury. You know what I'm saying? Like when Anthony Gonzalez signed with Ohio State, I would have probably given you a 10,000 to 1 that that guy was not a first round pick in the NFL as a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
there was no way. Nice little player, said it, but yeah, nice little player goes out there and be one of the most prolific receivers in the history of the school. Early
yeah,
entry to the draft and a first round pick by the Colts. So like, you don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. In the immortal words of Billy Bean from Moneyball, you don't know. You tell them that you know, but you don't know. It's
it's a
like,
good movie.
hey,
It's a good
it's a
movie.
great movie. It's a great
I
movie.
love
Great
Moneyball.
movie. I love Moneyball too.
Don't get me started on my movies, man. You done stirred something up. No, but that's a dope movie. All right, but yes, amen. Good points. All right. Calm Souls. That sounds soothing. Thanks for the 199. He'd have our head coach position if patient 4 years. Maybe, but you don't know. No, but I mean seriously, I get it, but he's betting on himself now. He's got to go down to South Florida and do a bang up job and put himself in a position, Nevada.
Yeah, no, look, frankly, you know, I agree with the poster. That was the path that I really thought that he was going to pursue, and I thought that they'd kind of convinced him on that. That learning the job under Ryan Day's tutelage, expanding your knowledge base. You're only 38 years old. Be patient in terms of doing it. The only thing that's unknowable is that timeline. You know, somebody earlier had said, "Well, what if Ryan told him it's going to be 15 years? What if Ryan just says, you know, something? I don't think I'm ever going to. You know, I'm going to be here for the that would be the one thing that could change the calculus, and that's the one thing I don't know on. But yeah, I think it's a great point. I would have preached patience. I personally think this is a mistake. I think once you leave the Ohio State thing, you're not. I think Ohio State makes the people as much as the people make Ohio State,
Yeah.
and I've always believed that.
Yep. I mean, it's a risk. You put yourself at a risk. And that's again, kudos to you. That's what you want to do. But time will tell. Paul Moss, thanks for the 2. And Paul Moss, thanks for the 2. I'm going to combine your 2 super chats. The first one you said Mike Fury is a perfect fit for the wide receiver position. And then you followed up with Mendoza as a Bernie Kosar clone. I haven't thought about that comp, but I had to look up Fury. He's the wide receiver coach at South Carolina right now. I don't know anything about him. So Nevada, I don't know if you know anything about him, but I don't know. But the Kosar, maybe. I don't know if I can, confirm that or not. What you think about that, Nevada?
Well, look, no, I think Mike Fury is going to be a name that's going to be a very popular name. A guy that's really has some success, has some connections. I think that it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think that one makes a lot, but I think you have a lot. There's going to be a lot of Mike Furies that are in there, but he's certainly a name that if you got a guy like that, that would not be a bad get for Ohio State, whatsoever.
Yeah,
As for the Mendoza, Bernie Kosar, yeah, I mean, I think Mendoza runs a little better than Bernie. Bernie was a
yeah,
little slow.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think they deliver the ball a lot of the same ways. Have a lot, both really, really smart guys. So yeah, let's hope that Mendoza is not Bernie Kosar on Saturday, and hope he's more like JJ McCarthy.
Yes. Let him be 9 on Saturday.
9. I'm 9.
SSS, thanks for the 499. Chip Kelly was 100% the reason we lost to Michigan last year. What are you talking about? Take a chance with Zach Smith. And then there's a bunch of emojis. We disagree. So again, like I said earlier, was Chip Kelly a part of the reason? There's several slices to the blame pie to go around. Nobody's saying Chip Kelly was just amazing that game, but people are implying that he was the reason we lost. Like he was the sole reason. And you're not going to get me to agree with that. I appreciate the super chat though, but we don't agree, Nevada.
Yeah, I can't tell if that's parody or if that's sincerity. Sometimes
I
it's
don't
hard
know
to tell,
either.
but what I would say, I mean, like if you're asking me, like there was plenty of blame to when you lose, there's always plenty of blame to go around. I mean,
Yep.
Will Howard, the kicker, Jack Sawyer missing a tackle. Yeah, I mean, like there's a million things you could talk about, but if you ask me to boil it down to one thing, I think it was Ryan Day's hubris. I think he really thought last year he could run it at him and win the rushing battle and prove something. But I really do believe that was the story, and I think he got called out for it. And to his credit, he has learned from that and reeled off 16 straight wins since then, including a resounding one in exactly the way that you should beat Michigan, which is the surest way possible and steal their souls. So Chip's just a great offensive mind and one of the all-time great running game concepts guy. And if he came back, his combination with him and Ryan Day would be unbelievable. Like I said, tears of joy if that happens.
Agreed. All right. Carl Price, thanks for the two. We need Chip as OC and Chris Carter as wide receiver coach. Kind of touched on that earlier. Like Nevada said, where is Chris Carter at in his life? Is he willing to do all the dirty work of recruiting and all the other stuff? Who knows? Definitely would take Kelly back. So we've mentioned that, Nevada. We got a ton of super chats, brother. I mean, it's crazy. Mark from Dub C, thanks for the 999. Just when everyone thinks the world is ending, Coach Day always pulls a rabbit out of his hat. He has plenty of connections, no sweat. OH Nevada?
I
Amen. Like, how can you not trust Ryan Day to navigate us through this, Nevada?
Yeah, I mean, if he hasn't earned that by now, then he ain't ever gonna earn it. But I totally agree with you. That's why, like you said, when you ask me flip or stay, I'm betting on Ryan Day. I think that's a good bet.
Gotcha. I agree. Ryan Coolidge, thanks for the 1999. Got to agree with Nevada here. Hate that Hartline chose USF. A couple more successful years at OC at Ohio State would have put him in the driver's seat of a much more likely to be successful program. I might just be salty though. I think we're all a little salty today. The timing and everything. We're happy for him, but the timing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair point. That you're making in Nevada echoes. It's a fair point, but the hay seems to be in the barn now, right?
Yeah, and again, said it before. Do want to say it again, so there's no thing. I am 100% supportive of Brian Hartline's decision. I just hate the timing. That's all. So it's not that this is not a Brian should never have leave here. Brian can leave, whatever it is, but timing, suckage. Hate it.
Definitely suckage. All right, Mr. Apollo, thanks for the 10. Minor setbacks today. Bay situation puzzling, possibly dodged a bullet. If we can get a homegrown talent to come, who would be on your wide receiver coach wish list? Keep in mind, BH started at the bottom. OH Nevada,
I oh
what you got for this? I don't really have an answer for a homegrown right now, but who you got?
Well, I mentioned Kenny Guyton earlier. I like Kenny Guyton a lot.
Yeah, me too.
I think Kenny Guyton, I just think he's just spectacular and I think he would be great. Now, does he fit all the boxes? I don't know how well he's recruited down there in the South. But if you want a smart guy, you want a relatable guy, you want an experienced guy, and you want a guy with Ohio State connections, that would do. But I mean, there's so many, great guys, but yeah, I'd have to really think about that to give a more coherent answer. As for the Bay situation, really weird. I mean,
Yeah,
Bay dressed up today, head to toe in Ohio State stuff, signed the document, talking like the papers for the show, like signed for Ohio State, announced Ohio State, big cheers. He literally looked like I said, he looked like the spawn of Buckeye Guy
big
and the
nut.
Neutron Man and Big Nut all together. And then mom wouldn't sign the papers apparently.
Yep.
And then 2 hours later he's at Tennessee. So I I don't even know what to say.
Me either, man. I mean, this is recruiting, and there's nothing you can do. The mama won't sign. What you gonna do? So yeah, definitely sucks. Lisa, what's up? Thanks for the 1999. No ideal time to lose BH. Proud of our classy uh, classy way it was handled. BH and Day called all the recruits early in the morning to let them know about BH. Hope Hartline does well at SF, gains necessary experience, and then replaces Day when he leaves. That's the storybook ending. He's definitely betting on himself, so we shall see, Nevada.
Yeah, no, he is betting on himself. He's putting himself out there, man. He's leaving the Ohio State nest and losing the Ohio State superpowers, and we'll see how he does there. If he runs the table, goes 11-1 or 12-0, and do it, then I will be the first one to stand up and salute him. That I think it's going to be tough, but he's making the bed so he can lay down in it.
Yep, agreed. Mr. Apollo, again, thanks for the 5. All the pundits want an OSU to face adversity. Here you go. I think they lock in and stump mud holes and opponents. Another level will be achieved. That's a different perspective. Adversity off the field. Interesting. I like it though. What you think, Nevada?
Yeah, no, look, this is a team that has seemed to be pretty resilient, and I don't worry about the adversity. I do worry about the distractions.
Yeah.
I think they can handle the adversity. I just hope that Brian isn't so distracted by this that the game plan suckers. Because frankly, I think Brian's been okay as the offensive coordinator this year, but like do you think he's been like A plus? Do you think have you been watching the games and gone, wow,
Yeah.
that's just the most brilliant game plan that I've ever seen? And
Y-
I
Yeah, no.
not to,
No.
not to me.
No, and I didn't expect him to be A plus as a first year, and I don't think you did either. But your point is that he's already learning and trying to get to that level, and now you have this distraction. And this is where I trust Ryan Day to supersede that and make sure that he is focused. So yeah, I hear you. It's definitely a concern, but we will find out very, very soon. Philip, thanks for the 2. Let's not forget Tavian St. Clair is elite. Relax. Yeah, I love St. Clair. He's nice, man. I think he's going to be really good. So, and I'm sure you agree, Nevada.
Well, yeah, and Fahey signed today, and let me tell you
Yeah,
what,
Fahey's good. He's sneaky. Yeah,
he
like people sleeping on
he's
him.
he's
He's
the
good.
real deal, man. He is the real deal. I'm just telling you. So, and again, that's nothing against Tavian, and Tavian's gonna have a huge advantage having been in the program, but Fahey's the real deal as well. So it's gonna be a heck of a quarterback battle.
Yep. Thomas Ridley, thanks for the 2. No NIL with Saban. NIL controls players flow today. It's a whole new world. The great Saban had to bang out. He said, I'm out. I'm not dealing with this anymore. And it is what it is. Now the Ryan Days are willing to stand 10 toes down. And so here we are, Nevada.
Yeah, you ask Saban or you ask Meyer why they wouldn't come back. They've been linked to a lot of jobs. They're like, I don't want to deal with NIL. I don't want
Yep.
to deal with the portal. Let them. They didn't have to deal with it then. They sure as heck don't want to deal with it now.
Yep. True. Geo did. Thanks for the 2. Apologizing for he said, sorry about my horrible grammar. She laugh out loud. It's all good, man. Listen, I've typed in super chats. It's for some reason, it's like, it's difficult to type it. It's like, I don't know what it is with the YouTube, but it's hard to be perfect with typing in super chats. I've learned that, Nevada.
Yeah, it's like using the Enigma machine or something like that. You gotta like hit buttons and it gives different things. So yeah, so it's confusing as heck. That's for sure.
All right. P. Barry, thanks for the 5. Our culture is second to none. Ryan Day knows paying guys just coming in hurt it. That's why we have guys stick around for 3 years. Do you think we'll have to change? I think we'll just continue to adapt. That we will adapt as we need to without sacrificing the culture. And so far it's been working. And my hope is that it'll keep working. And having a guy like Ryan Day at the helm will help ensure that we just don't go the way of Texas A&M and just dumping money on players regardless of their family and their upbringing and their attitude or whatever. Nevada.
Yeah, look, as long as Ryan Day's here, I'm not going to worry. Now that doesn't mean that when Ryan Day leaves, that I'm going to start to worry. But you got to make a good hire when Ryan Day leaves. That again, that could be 20 years from now. So we could be talking about something that's just silliness. But as long as Ryan Day's here, I won't worry about the culture. He's got that thing on lockdown and doing a great job of it.
Speaking of 20 years, Barber Fanatic, thanks for the 5. Greg Olson interviewed Ryan Day 3 months ago on his YouTube podcast, Youth Inc. From timestamp 27:30 to 30 minutes. Very, very, specific. Ryan says he wants to be here for 20 years. I do remember that. Great point. I mean, we'll see. I mean, he could have just been using some hyperbole, but I wouldn't put it past him. Ryan Day is a different cat, man. It's almost like I hate to say this and sound kind of wacky and crazy, but it's almost like the good Lord himself said, you know what? I got something for you, Ohio State. Ryan Day. He's going to go through the fire, some adversity, but he's going to come out pure gold. And here's my gift to you. I'm not going to put it past him, Nevada.
Well, that's how I feel when I got you as my podcast partner. I feel like the good Lord gave me B Moses. You know what I'm saying? That so like why not? I totally agree. I heartily endorse that that emotion right there. And no, I think while I'm very lucky to have you, we are very lucky to have Ryan Day as the head coach. And could he be here for 20 years? I don't think that's crazy. He's only 48 years old,
Yeah, he's
so
young.
he's young. He is very young as coaches go, so he could be here for a bit.
Yep. And I appreciate you, sir. You know it's all love. The feeling's mutual. Good, sir. All right, Mr. Apollo, thanks for the 5. Just win the whole damn thing. Again, back to back. We are the damn standard. If you build it, they will come. They has built it. Sounds like a fiery Woody Hayes speech. And it reminds me of Major League, your boy Jake. I forget his name. I can't say exactly what he said, but he said something similar. Let's just win the whole thing. So what you got on that, Nevada?
Yeah, no, I mean we're in position to do it. We've got the team. We're gonna have a bye in the first round, so we're gonna need it's 3 games for the championship. I mean that's all it is. So and it's really irrelevant how we do this. I want to win. I hope we win. I really do want to win, but whether we win or lose, it's still 3 games for the championship, and we can win 3 games.
Yep. Simple. All right. Frenzo, thanks for the 199 and thanks for the 199. I'm going to combine yours as well. You said higher chip back in Ed Orgeron, maybe, and then you followed up with Edo was one of the masterminds of the LSU wide receivers or for the LSU wide receivers. So Edo, hiring Ed Orgeron, and we reported months ago that he was interested in like looking, inquiring. He would be entertainment for just press conference. Bring him in just for press conferences. So we can have the dude from Waterboy, the cook, like, we can just have that dude come in. Bring him in for that. What you got, Nevada? That's all I got for Edo.
Yeah, I mean, look, but that's the stature. I think it's an inspired idea. I mean, the idea that you'd go out. I mean, look, when they said we're going to get Matt Patricia to be your defensive coordinator, I'm like, oh, sure. The
Right.
former head coach of the Lions, this 3-time Super Bowl guy is going to be our defensive coordinator. Sure that. So why not Ed Orgeron? Ed Orgeron is a ferocious recruiter, known throughout the Deep South. Absolutely loves the game, loves all that stuff. Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that idea.
Yeah. He's one of those lovable just guys. Like, it's just Edo. You know what I'm saying? But yes, great recruiter. And yeah, I would definitely take him. All right. Philip, thanks for the 5. People have PTSD from years of almost. We're there now. It's okay to accept that we're A1 on the job list. Welcome to being the Kings. Well said, Philip. Well said. I agree. It's what it is. We have to embrace being the top dog. This is what comes with being the top dog. And we'll get through it, Nevada.
Well, yeah, it's just we are going through what Alabama went through every year, and they did it, and they won regularly for a very long time. So there's no reason to believe that we can't. But this is just the new normal when you're the top dog in college football.
Yep. And then looks like we got the last super chat here. Susan, thanks for the 5. How about Ted Ginn Jr. for a homegrown wide receivers coach? I'm a huge Teddy Ginn fan. Huge Ted Ginn fan. I haven't thought about that. What you think about that, Nevada?
I mean, again, a guy that I don't know if he'd want to get on the. It's always about finding that guy that wants to get on the
Right.
road recruiting stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Teddy, that'd be a dream come true. A guy he went to the league. I thought as a kick returner, ended up playing the league almost exclusively as a wide receiver for like 15 years. So yeah, he would be unbelievable, and that would be a great asset to Ohio State.
Definitely. Okay, we got another one here from Zook. Thanks for the 499. Is Chris Carter a candidate for wide receiver coach OH Nevada?
Oh.
So we talked about Chris Carter earlier, and the question is the same thing Nevada just said. as a tactician, that like getting the wide receivers coached up with technique. Oh, phenomenal. Does he want to do the dirty work of recruiting? That's the question. So that's really the question, Nevada.
Yeah, and we talked about the Buckeye Scoop board. Chris Carter is a member on the Buckeye Scoop board, so we will ask him are you a candidate for the wide receiver job? But that's one of the benefits of being at Buckeye Scoop on the message board is you never know who's going to be a member, including the great Chris Carter.
Indeed. Yep. Just ask him. Ask him. All right. No way. Thanks for the 2 and thanks for being a Scoop Ultra member. Swing for the fences. Offer Urban a 2-year deal. Hey, I love this. Get him up out of Fox with. I'm sure he will be happy to get away from Portnoy, and his pressure. So that's a good idea. Let's ask Urban that as well while we're at it, Nevada.
Yeah, I don't think they're, but I like the idea. Think big. I like the idea that we're not thinking small. That would be a big idea. Not sure he's going to do it, but love the inspiration.
Yeah, I like it. I like it for sure. All right. Listen, great show. Listen, not a great day as far as things that's kind of up in the air, but always a great show. Great commentary, great super chats, great questions. And listen, regardless, y'all, we good, y'all. We are going, I promise you, the Ohio State University is going to be fine. All right. And I trust Ryan Day and this coaching staff and these seniors and these captains to navigate us through this distraction to go beat the Fighting Signettis on Saturday, Nevada. You agree?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're better than they are. Just got to keep our head on straight, going there and handle business. And the game doesn't need to be close.
It does not. And I'm hoping it will not be. And one more, Clueless, thanks for the 10. We are crying over a recruit. We could be Penn State right now, ranked behind Akron on the recruiting trail. Very, very true. I brought this up months ago, and I said a similar thing that we could be Penn State. Just trying to get people to appreciate Ohio State. You're so right. And so people going people, man. I'm giving the people some space to be upset today, but also, come on now, know who you are. And you are a Buckeye, and this program will always persevere. That's the track record. We good regardless. So yeah. But anyway, listen, love y'all, Buckeye Scoop family, Buckeye Nation. We're gonna see y'all tomorrow and get ready for this Indiana game. Beat the Hoosiers. Peace. Go Bucks.